Good evening, North America. This is WDBG's and VNA's in-house and resident real biological female voice, former Canadian Navy sailor and proud freedom-loving Canadian, Kay Marie. Friends, I served my country in the Canadian Navy with everything I had, protecting our shared waters, standing watch alongside our American allies, and learning firsthand what real naval power, real sacrifice, and real readiness actually mean. That experience taught me something I carry with me every single day. When it comes to defending North America, we are truly in this together. So tonight, with deep respect for the United States Navy, for President Trump, and for every sailor and Marine who wears the uniform, this Canadian girl is stepping forward to speak plainly and honestly about something that affects every one of us, from Vancouver to Halifax, from Alaska to Florida. A few weeks ago, America's president unveiled the concept for a bold new Trump-class battleship. And tonight, I'm going to lay out the scathing truth that neither President Trump, nor the admirals at the Pentagon, nor Battleship New Jersey's respected curator and voice, Ryan Szymanski, have been willing to say publicly. These new Trump-class ships are not true battleships, and they may actually be a disaster waiting to happen. Instead, the real answer, the smart, proven, battle-hardened solution that protects the entire continent faster, cheaper, and far more effectively, is the reactivation and modernization of the legendary Iowa-class battleships, the real golden fleet North America needs right now. First, let's be very clear. History's Battlecruiser Curse has been completely ignored in these $22 billion floating targets, and the perplexing silence from Ryan Szymanski, from the admirals, and even from the administration itself is something we can no longer afford. Although here at WDBG we normally focus on Canadian and American rights, laws, politics, and the daily freedom fights that protect our shared North American values, we are making a deliberate and urgent exception tonight. Because what we are about to expose could stop a catastrophic national and continental disaster in its tracks. This isn't a detour from patriotism, it is patriotism. And as a Canadian who served in our Navy, I want every Canadian listener and viewer to know your voice, your opinion, and your stake in this conversation matter just as much as anyone else's, because the United States Navy doesn't just protect America, it protects the entire North American continent, including every family in Canada. Our shared security, our shared prosperity, and our shared freedom depend on getting this right together. It is about smart defense policy, fiscal sanity, real leadership under the current Trump administration, and making sure the United States and our entire North American alliance remain strong, respected, and actually ready for whatever comes next. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow North Americans, battleship enthusiasts, taxpayers, sailors, Marines, and every single person who still believes that naval power and North American history actually matter, it is time to have a very uncomfortable conversation about Ryan Szymanski, curator of Battleship New Jersey. The voice you hear narrating every meticulously researched YouTube video, every public speech, every publication on the Iowa-class battleships. Although everything he puts out is very accurate, it is still perplexing that he still seems to refuse to tell both President Trump, the U.S. Navy, Congress, and the public at large the great faults of the new proposed Trump-class battleships. The man whose content is, without exaggeration, some of the most accurate, fact-dense, passionately delivered battleship scholarship available anywhere on the planet knows these ships the way a surgeon knows anatomy. He has walked every compartment of New Jersey. He has studied every armor strike, every turret traverse, every lesson from Jutland to Leyte Gulf to the 1980s reactivation. When Ryan Szymanski speaks on battleship engineering, protection, firepower, and survivability, the entire community stops and listens because he is that good. Which is precisely why his silence is no longer merely perplexing. It has become embarrassing. It has become dangerous. And at this point, with the future of North American sea power on the line, it borders on the inexcusable, because by hiding or omitting these very important facts, which he already knew as the battleship expert he is, his omission could be construed as dangerously unpatriotic as well as a cause of any future catastrophic disaster. He has never, not once, in any video, any live stream, any interview, any public appearance, laid out for President Trump, for the Navy leadership, for Congress, or for the North American people the catastrophic design faults that make these brand new Trump-class ships objectively worse than the very Iowa-class museum ships he has spent his entire adult life preserving. And Ryan does not get to plead ignorance. He already knew every single one of these fatal flaws years before any of us ever saw that white paper. He has studied the Battlecruiser Curse. He has narrated the sinking of the Kongos. He has watched the Zumwalt disaster unfold in real time. He knows the numbers. He knows the history. He knows the engineering. Yet he has chosen, so far, to say nothing. History's brutal warning, the Battlecruiser Curse that sank fleets. In 1916 at the Battle of Jutland, the British battlecruisers HMS Indefatigable, Queen Mary, and Invincible, fast, heavily gunned, but thinly armored, took just a handful of hits and blew up in catastrophic magazine explosions. The Germans lost SMS Lutzow to the exact same vulnerability. Those proud ships now lie at the bottom of the North Sea because their designers deliberately sacrificed armor for speed and firepower. The Battlecruiser Curse claimed them all. Fast forward to the Pacific in World War II. Japan's 4 Kongō-class battlecruisers, later politely re-rated as fast battleships, met the identical fate. Every single one now rests on the ocean floor, sunk by air power, submarines, and precision weapons they were never armored to survive. We saw the exact same folly in our own lifetime with the Zumwalt-class destroyers. Planned for 32 ships. Total program cost ballooned to $24.5 billion. Only 3 were ever built. The revolutionary 155mm guns were cancelled because the ammunition cost $800,000 per round. The ships are now being awkwardly repurposed as hypersonic missile barges. Billions wasted. Capability delivered far below every promise. These are not ancient history. These are direct, screaming warnings about what happens when you build large, high-value ships that concentrate enormous firepower but deliberately skimp on armor and survivability. And the proposed Trump-class ships are exactly that. Modern battlecruisers in patriotic disguise, 30,000 to 40,000-ton thin-skinned missile platforms with no heavy armor belt mentioned in any official document. Congressional Budget Office estimates already put the lead ship at up to $22 billion, more than a nuclear aircraft carrier, with follow-on ships still $9 to $13 billion each. First steel will not be cut until the early 2030s. Actual delivery. Maybe 2040 at the earliest. Unless the Trump administration and Navy rectify those faults immediately, it is a potential disaster in waiting for the entire continent. Key weaknesses Ryan Szymanski already knows by heart. Severe survivability issues, the classic battlecruiser curse. Massive size and concentrated firepower turn these ships into floating targets for hypersonic anti-ship missiles, advanced torpedoes, drone swarms, or submarines. 1 or 2 hits could mission kill or sink them outright. Immature, high-risk technology, railguns, a program that already struggled and was largely cancelled, high-power lasers, hypersonic missiles, nuclear SLCM and cruise missiles, all unproven at this scale. The integration risks are identical to the Zumwalt disaster. Astronomical costs and industrial strain, these ships will devour resources that should be going to frigates, destroyers, and unmanned vessels while our shipyards are already overloaded. Most serious analysts predict cancellation before the first hull even launches. Doctrinal mismatch, concentrating massive firepower in a handful of floating targets instead of distributing it across a survivable fleet. Only 2 5-inch guns and missiles that are both ruinously expensive and strictly limited in sustained fire. Now contrast that disaster in waiting with the Iowa-class alternative that Ryan Szymanski knows better than anyone alive. The 4 existing Iowa-class battleships are already built. Their hulls are legendary for a reason: 12 to 13-inch armor belts, 33-knot speed, and cavernous internal volume that the Navy itself exploited during the 1980s Reagan reactivation to stuff them full of Tomahawks and new electronics at a fraction of new build cost. Every single advanced system the Trump class wants can be retrofitted onto the Iowas more easily, more economically, and decades faster. Cutting-edge and /spy, 6 radars or full Aegis baseline upgrades, fixing the only real weakness the Iowas have today. Hundreds of Mk-41 vertical launch system cells packed with Tomahawks, SMSIXS, and conventional prompt strike hypersonics, high-power lasers and, if the technology ever actually matures, railguns, even a full nuclear propulsion retrofit. Dramatically cheaper and quicker when you are installing it into a proven Iowa hull instead of designing, testing, and building entirely new nuclear plants into a brand new 800-plus foot ship from scratch. And you still keep the 9/16-inch/50 caliber guns, the most devastating naval artillery ever mounted on any warship in history. A single Iowa salvo delivers more explosive power than dozens of modern missiles. These guns provide sustained, high-volume shore bombardment that no missile magazine on Earth can match, exactly what the Marines need for beachheads and fortified positions. They also deliver the unmistakable silhouette of American battleship power that inspires awe and projects raw national prestige around the world, exactly the Great White Fleet effect President Trump wants. Reactivating and modernizing the 4 Iowas would put real, heavily armored battleships to sea years, even decades, sooner than any Trump-class fantasy timeline, cost a fraction of $22 billion per hull even with complete combat system overhauls and nuclear plants, preserve American shipyard jobs and use existing infrastructure instead of gambling everything on risky new designs, and give the Navy immediate, overwhelming gunfire support and prestige platforms that actually fit today's fight. Protecting the entire North American continent. President Trump, members of Congress, and fellow North Americans, we all want the same thing, the strongest Navy on Earth, built with American muscle, North American common sense, and hard-earned respect for history. The Trump-class concept began with the right patriotic spirit. Now let us finish it the right way. Ryan Szymanski, this monologue is your constructive critique, delivered with the full respect your scholarship has earned, but with the brutal honesty our continent now demands. You have spent years building unmatched credibility with every battleship enthusiast in North America. Use that platform. Stop protecting pretty renderings. Stop protecting PowerPoint dreams. Stop protecting feelings. And if, God forbid, one of these thin-skinned Trump-class battlecruisers ever takes a hit it was never armored to survive, some future board of inquiry is going to ask a very ugly question. Why didn't the one man in North America who knew better say something? Tell President Trump. Tell the Navy. Tell Congress. Tell the North American people the truth you already know in your bones. The Iowa-class ships are the real golden fleet, right now, today, cheaper, tougher, more survivable, and armed with guns that no missile can ever replace. Reactivate them. Modernize them. Armor them. Arm them. Sail them under the stars and stripes before we waste another generation, another fortune, and potentially thousands of North American lives on thin-skinned battlecruisers that history has already condemned. Because if you will not say it, North America still needs someone who will. And right now, Ryan, your silence is getting louder than every single video you have ever narrated. The Iowa class is waiting. The truth is waiting. The time to speak, loudly, completely, and without apology, is now. Well, I hope and pray that every North American who's watched this will do something about it. Tell President Trump, tell Ryan Szymanski, and tell the American Navy brass to watch this video. So on that note, before this here girl goes till next time, please share, comment, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. This has been K. Marie for WDBG Metro Windsor-Detroit. Bonsoir, say CA. Good evening and good night.
We ain't done yet, innit? We got our Queen Amy to switch things up so K. Marie could smash the first half proper. But we can't move on without letting our CEO, Amy Suzanne, step up front of them old SVHS cameras again, in her own special style, to thoroughly remind both the English and French mandem what a real battleship even is, bruv. Every single one of us across North America, Canadians and Americans alike, needs to clock what these ships are really built from, armed for, and fighting for, safe. So pick this up as I lay it down. This is the Chad, pointing you straight to absolute fire. If you're ready for that unfiltered truth delivered with raw power and bare breathtaking elegance, you lot absolutely gotta watch this second part of the highly educational and motivational monologue on them overpriced, design-flawed, Trump-class battleships. Spoiler, they're basically battlecruisers, as Amy's gonna break down. It's coming right after this Nova Scotian's quick rant intro. And let me tell you proper, our Amy Suzanne, directress and CEO of WDBG UHF 50 YouTube TV and VNA Voices of North America Media and Press Guild Group, even at 42 years young, is straight up smoking peng. Yuppers, bruvs, she's one hell of a stunning, real biological conservative woman and voice. Even through her exact AI clone, her radiant feminine beauty is bare camera-friendly and magnetically captivating, innit? But her looks are only matched by her fierce intellect, fiery no-nonsense delivery of straight facts, and that fearless feminine warrior spirit she always brings, hurling thunderous passion and razor-sharp historical insight at the family, economy, and society-destroying woke Marxist nonsense from the left. She dismantles it all in one of the most fire yet eloquently mesmerizing performances you'll ever see. To fully expound on what Kay Marie just dropped in the first part, Amy spits it in clear English first. Then, for all you Frenchies out there, she switches to her old-school French. It's that kind of dialect from French North America back in the day, the sort even some of us who speak French sometimes have a hell of a time following properly. Enjoy the brain-challenging exercise trying to mentally translate every word. It's that older way of speaking French, like when Vinny spits it out his mouth. Maybe that's why Amy and him click the way they do, because they speak the same kind of old-school French lingo. Who the hell knows, except the minute? Anyone who speaks French usually catches it all correct, but as usual, she takes the time at the end to say it in French, so all you Frenchies who can't understand English know exactly what this broadcast is and was all about. And she does it with her usual fiery style, thunderous passion, razor-sharp insight, and a delivery so powerful it'll shake your soul. This ain't just talk being spat out our directress and CEO Amy Suzanne's mouth to you lot. Nah, ladies and gents, what you're about to see and hear soon as I stop running my mouth is a proper rallying cry that stuff needs fixing from a modern-day revolutionary whose voice and presence command attention like few others can. Bruv. So here's exactly what I want you to do right now. Sit back, or if you want to and can, just lay back and really concentrate on what Amy's going to tell you as you watch the rest of this video on YouTube. While you're here watching, and before this broadcast ends, support this remarkable woman and the entire WDBG and VNA team. Smash that like button, hit the notification bell so you never miss her powerful broadcasts, and subscribe today, innit. Amy Suzanne is a rare force. Wise, unflinching, charismatic, and absolutely unstoppable. At 42, she's more beautiful, more magnetic, and more dangerous to tyranny than ever before. So watch the rest till the end. Listen intently, learn, share it and what you're about to hear far and wide. And stand with her in defense building the right kind of battleships and navy, as well as in defense of God, guns, family, rights, and freedom. This has been The Chad with the voices of North America Press and Media Guild. And remember, freedom and liberty, even in what now seems like China, da folks, can still live and endure if we're willing to stand up against tyrants. 'Cause freedom, liberty, and rights come from above, not from any human government or scrap of paper. Link in the comments and pinned below. And now, without further ado, here's our Amy again with a very special and very important final message about all that they're for you lot.
Oh, North American patriots and truth seekers, listen up in this late hour, because as so many of you, especially our Canadian patriots, have been feeling deep in your bones, the shadows of national decline and despair seem to be stretching long across the once free lands of this great North American continent, from the Atlantic shores to the Pacific, and from the frozen north to the southern heartlands. I'm Amy Suzanne, Director and CEO of VNA, Voice of North America, the Media and Press Guild, and also of WDBG UHF 50 YouTube TV, part of the Metro Windsor-Detroit Broadcasting Group. You just heard from our excellent reporter based in Canada's national capital, Ottawa, Kay Marie. And like I always do, I'm going to first break down and expand on everything Kay Marie just laid out, in clear English so all our English-speaking friends across North America can follow every fact and argument without missing a beat. Then right after, I'll do the exact same breakdown and expansion again, this time fully in French, so our Francophone brothers and sisters in the Great White North and beyond can hear it in their beautiful language with nothing lost. Now, since I only deal in straight facts and the unvarnished truth, let me explain why we had Kay Marie go first in tonight's show. And I'll repeat the key points she just shared with you. First, about Kay, as you saw, our Kay from WDBG, nicknamed Shorty, around here because, like my husband would say in his classic Detroit way, she's a sawed-off real biological female weapon in our VNA and WDBG arsenal compared to the other ladies in our crew. But even though she's petite, she's got a massive heart for Canada and North America, for Canadians and Americans alike, and a fiery, no BS mouth that calls things exactly as they are, straight up, no sugarcoating, no lies, just like our Miss Kitty from Zero Dark Kitty, our Andy Lee from The Real Andy Lee Show, and me. She's also got this totally authentic, biological feminine presence that's seriously admirable, and a really well-shaped chest, round and sensual, on par with mine and Andy's, which is a huge plus when you're covering topics that mostly grab a male audience. Especially when she's wearing one of my tight black dresses that hug every curve, she looks incredible in them. And let's be real, a lot of these guys watching are sailors, and you know the reputation sailors have, along with a lot of true conservative guys and real men of heart. They've got, modestly speaking, a strong appreciation for women like Kay, Andy, me, and others in our press guild who aren't afraid to show on camera that we're actual biological women. Unlike so many conservative media ladies these days, we don't care what the critics say. We show up looking our most attractive and put together selves. So when our head cameraman, Le Chad, told my Vinny to ask me when we're bringing Kay Marie back, because of all that, this light bulb went off in my head. I thought, yeah, Kay's way more available than Andy Lee or Miss Kitty. She's right there in Ottawa, not stuck mid-continent in Alberta like Andy, or way down in the deep south like Miss Kitty. And honestly, maybe folks are getting tired of seeing my 42-year-old self, especially since I'm past my prime anyway. Plus, after that leftist nutjob slammed into me with a Buick, broke my leg, and almost got to my little mini-me, my daughter, I switched to using an exact AI-cloned avatar for everything. Hair, color, makeup, the works. That way another raging leftist, like the one who killed Charlie Kirk, can't easily pick me out in a crowd for safety reasons. Kay Marie would be perfect for speaking to a male audience. It'd give her a real shot to prove herself again, shut chat up about her, and keep things fresh. So if you like her, tell her, and tell us in the comments. But keep it clean and respectful, no crude, come puck me stuff or gross pics, because that gets you nothing from us WDBG and VNA ladies except maybe permanent silence. On the real side, though, if you want to message her, Andy, or me properly, go for it. Be straightforward. She and all of us appreciate it a ton, and unlike a lot of media people, we actually reply personally and as fast as we can. Now, second point, President Trump, Ryan Szymanski, and these so-called new Trump-class battleships. As you probably know, my husband's a former Special Surface Naval Combat Officer, so through him and his old buddies in Naval Intel in DC and at NATO HQ in Belgium, I've picked up some solid knowledge on naval warfare and ships. I'm also a huge fan of Ryan's YouTube stuff on the battleship New Jersey and Draconifol's Dry Dock channel on British naval history. And like a lot of people know, I'm an East Coast girl, East Coast as in St. John's, Newfoundland, so the sea, ships, and everything that goes with them are in my blood and soul. That's why I'm going to repeat and build on what Kay just threw out there. This is directed straight at Mr. President Trump, members of Congress, and fellow North Americans. Let's build a real golden fleet, the smarter, faster, cheaper way that actually learns from history. Mr. President Trump, your vision for a powerful golden fleet is exactly the kind of bold patriotism America needs right now. After decades of a shrinking navy and weak strategy, you've reignited the spirit of Teddy Roosevelt's Great White Fleet. You've reminded the world that sea power still means national strength and respect. The idea of massive high-tech surface combatants projecting overwhelming American power is truly inspiring. You and your team are thinking big for the Navy and the country, and every American who wants the world's best military has to cheer this on. Here are the official renders you released. They look impressive. news.usni.org, news.usni.org, reddit.com. But good intentions and pretty pictures aren't enough. Before we dump tens or hundreds of billions into a brand new Trump-class BBG-X design, we owe taxpayers, our sailors, and future generations to pick the path that actually gets real battleships in the water this decade, not PowerPoint fantasies for the 2040s. The clear answer: fully modernize and reactivate the 4 existing Iowa-class battleships. History's brutal warning: the curse of the battlecruisers that doomed entire fleets. History screams at us not to repeat the same deadly mistake. At Jutland in 1916, British battlecruisers like HMS Indefatigable, Queen Mary, and Invincible fast and heavily armed but lightly armored, blew up after just a few hits. The Germans lost SMS Lutzow the same way. Those proud ships are at the bottom of the North Sea because designers traded armor for speed and firepower. The Battlecruiser Curse got them all. Jump to World War II in the Pacific. Japan's Kongō-class battlecruisers, later called fast battleships, suffered the same fate, all for sunk-by-air, subs, and precision weapons they weren't armored against. We saw the same stupidity recently with the Zumwalt-class destroyers. Planned for 32, it ballooned to $24.5 billion total. Only 3 got built. The revolutionary guns got scrapped because ammo cost $800,000 a round. Now they're awkwardly turned into hypersonic missile barges. Billions wasted, capabilities way short of promises, defensenews.com. These are straight-up warnings about what happens when you build big, expensive ships that pack firepower but skimp on armor and survivability. The Trump class risks repeating every one of those disasters. These proposed ships are basically modern battlecruisers in disguise, thin-skinned missile platforms of 30,000 to 40,000 tons, with no heavy armor belt mentioned in any official docs. CBO estimates put the lead ship at up to $22 billion, more than a nuclear carrier, and follow-ons at $9 to $13 billion each. First steel cut in the early 2030s. Delivery? Maybe 2040 at best. Big weaknesses, terrible survivability, the classic Battlecruiser Curse. Huge size and concentrated firepower make them perfect targets for hypersonic anti-ship missiles, advanced torpedoes, drones, or subs. 1 or 2 good hits could knock it out or sink it. Immature high-risk tech, railguns, already troubled, high-power lasers, hypersonics, nuclear SLCMN, all unproven at scale. Integration risks like the Zumwalt mess. Sky-high costs and shipyard strain, culling resources from frigates, destroyers, and unmanned ships when yards are already maxed out. Experts predict cancellation before the first hull even launches. Doctrinal mismatch puts massive power in a few giant floating targets instead of spreading it across a distributed fleet. Only 2 5-inch guns and pricey, limited missiles for sustained fire. The Iowa alternative, proven hulls plus modern upgrades equals real battleships, sooner and cheaper. The 4 Iowas already exist. Their hulls are legendary for good reason: 12 to 13 inches of thick armor, 33 knot speed. Huge internal volume the Navy used in the Reagan 1980s reactivations to add Tomahawks and new electronics at a fraction of new build cost. Anything the Trump class wants can go on an Iowa easier, cheaper, and way faster. Top-tier radars and /spy 6 or full Aegis to fix the Iowa's main current weakness. Hundreds of Mk-41 VLS cells loaded with Tomahawks, SM-6, conventional prompt strike hypersonics. High-power lasers and, if it matures, railguns. Even a full nuclear propulsion refit for unlimited range and speed, infinitely cheaper and quicker on a proven Iowa hull than designing and building new nuclear plants in an 800-plus-foot new ship. And we keep the 9/16-inch/50 caliber guns, the most devastating naval artillery ever. They deliver sustained, high-volume shore bombardment no missile magazine can match for real amphibious support. One Iowa salvo packs more explosive punch than dozens of modern missiles, perfect for beachheads and fortifications. They give that unmistakable silhouette of American armored power that inspires and projects raw national prestige worldwide, exactly the Great White Fleet vibe you want. Check out what real armored firepower looks like: nationalsecurityjournal.org, reddit.com. Reactivating and modernizing the Iowas would let us put real armored battleships to sea years, even decades, sooner than the Trump-class timeline. Cost a fraction of $22 billion per hull, even with full upgrades. Keep American shipyard jobs using existing infrastructure instead of gambling on risky new designs. Give the Navy immediate, overwhelming fire support and prestige platforms that fit today's fights. Mr. President Trump, members of Congress, and fellow North Americans, we all want the same thing: the world's strongest Navy, built with American muscle, common sense, and respect for history's hard lessons. The Trump class idea started with the right spirit and patriotism. Let's finish it the right way. Reactivate and modernize the Iowas. Give them the latest radars, missiles, lasers, and propulsion tech allows. Keep the big guns. Keep the armor. Keep the prestige. That's how you deliver the real golden fleet America deserves, not on a drawing board in 2040, but sailing proudly under the stars and stripes right now, ready to deter enemies, back our Marines on the beach, and make America respected again. The American people back strong leadership that gets results and learns from the past. Let's choose what actually works. The U.S. Navy and America's future will be stronger, safer, and truly golden. Until next time, good evening tonight, and for those of you watching in English out there, this has been Amy Suzanne, Director and CEO of WDBG UHF 50 YouTube TV, the Windsor-Detroit Broadcast Group, and VNA Voices of North America Press and Media Guild Group, bringing you these thoughts. I hope you all get it and take it to heart. I love you all, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe. Good evening and good night. Aux chercheurs de vérité, écoutez-moi en cette heure tardive, car les ombres du déclin national et du désespoir s'allongent sur les terres jadis libres du Grand Nord blanc canadien. Je suis Amy Suzanne, directrice et CEO de la VNA Voix de l'Amérique du Nord, Guilde des médias et de la presse, ainsi que de la WDBG YouTube TV, branche du groupe de diffusion Métro Windsor-Detroit. Vous venez d'entendre notre excellente reporter attachée à la capitale nationale du Canada, Ottawa, Kay Marie. Or ça, puisque cette fille que je suis, moi-même Amy Suzanne, ne profère et ne transmet que les faits purs et la vérité nue, je vais vous révéler la vérité sur la raison pour laquelle nous avons fait précéder Kay Marie devant moi en cette émission de ce soir. Et de même, je vais vous redire et répéter les faits qu'elle vient de vous exposer. Premièrement, sur Kay. Comme vous l'avez vu, notre Kay de la WDBG, surnommée ici Shorty, car elle est, disons-le comme mon époux le dirait en son parler de Détroit, un peu rabotée, comparée aux autres dames de notre groupe WDBG et VNA. Toutefois, quoique petite des statures, elle porte un cœur immense pour le Canada et l'Amérique du Nord, pour Canadiens et Américains pareillement, et une bouche ardente, sans détour ni ménagement, qui dit les choses telles qu'elles sont, comme elles sont, purement il en est ainsi, sans phare ni mensonge. D'une manière comparable à notre Miss Kitty de Zero Dark Kitty, notre Andy Lee de The Real Andy Lee Show, et à la mienne propre. Elle possède aussi une présence féminine authentique et biologique des plus admirables, et une poitrine fort bien faite, comparable en rondeur et en attrait sensuel à la mienne et à celle d'Andy, ce qui est un atout précieux quand on traite d'un sujet qui captive surtout un auditoire d'hommes, surtout quand elle est vêtue d'une de mes robes noires ajustées et révélatrices de la silhouette, dans laquelle elle paraît admirable. De surcroît, surtout quand nombre de ces hommes sont marins, et vous avez oui la renommée de ces marins et de mains vraiment conservateurs et hommes de cœur, qui ont, disons-le avec modestie, un penchant marqué à contempler avec délectation des femmes comme Kay, Andy et moi, et d'autres de notre guilde de presse, qui ne craignent point, contrairement à tant de dames des médias conservateurs d'aujourd'hui, de montrer publiquement sur l'écran qu'elles sont de vraies femmes biologiques et qu'elles ne se soucient guère du qu'en dira-t-on quand elles s'efforcent de paraître à leur plus séduisante et accomplie beauté devant la caméra. Aussi, depuis que notre chef de caméra, le Chad, a dit à Monvini de me demander quand nous ferions revenir Kay Marie en émission, à cause de tout ce que je viens de dire, cette fille que je suis s'est mise à réfléchir et une lumière s'est allumée dans mon esprit, comme une illumination, et je me suis dit, oui, puisqu'il est plus accessible qu'Andy Lee ou Miss Kitty, étant sur place à Ottawa plutôt qu'à mi-continent en Alberta loin dans l'ouest canadien comme Andy, ou dans le profond sud. Américain comme Miss Kitty, et peut-être que le public se lasse de voir mon mois de 42 ans passé date d'expiration, surtout depuis que, pour ma sûreté personnelle, après qu'un forcené gauchiste m'ait heurté d'une Buick, m'ait brisé la jambe et ait failli atteindre ma petite mini-moi ma fille, juste d'un avatar cloné par intelligence artificielle exacte en tout, chevelure, couleur, maquillage, tout afin qu'un autre gauchiste enragé, tel celui qui tua Charlie Kirk, ne puisse aisément me repérer dans le public. Kay Marie serait parfaite pour s'adresser à un auditoire d'hommes. De plus, cela lui donnerait l'occasion de montrer de rechef ce qu'elle vaut, si on lui accorde sa chance, et aussi de faire taire Chad à son sujet. Donc, si vous l'aimez, dites-le lui et dites-le nous dans les commentaires. Mais gardez-vous d'être grossier ou impoli dans vos messages et votre façon de nous communiquer, point de « viens me puck », ni de ces images indécentes, car cela n'obtiendra nulle réponse de nous, les dames de WDBG et VNA, sauf peut-être un silence éternel. Mais sur le vrai ton, si vous voulez lui écrire, à Andy ou à moi, un message ou un commentaire, allez-y franchement. Elle et nous toutes l'apprécierons grandement, et contrairement à d'autres dans les médias, elle et nous répondrons toujours personnellement et promptement autant que possible. Maintenant, sur le second point, le président Trump, Ryan Szymanski, et ses prétendus nouveaux cuirassés de la classe Trump. Comme vous le savez sans doute, mon époux est ancien officier de combat naval spécial de surface, si bien que par lui et par ses anciens amis des renseignements navals à Washington et au quartier général de l'OTAN en Belgique, cette fille que je suis a appris et recueilli quelques lumières sur la guerre navale et les vaisseaux. De plus, je suis fervente admiratrice des chaînes YouTube de Ryan sur le Battleship New Jersey et de Drachenfels sur Dry Dock, histoire navale du Royaume-Uni. Et comme beaucoup le savent, je suis fille de la côte et je dis bien côte, comme Saint-Jean de Terre-Neuve, si bien que la mer, les navires et tout ce qui s'y rapporte font partie intégrante de mon être et de mon âme. C'est pourquoi je vais réitérer et développer ce que qui a jeté au vent, et cela s'adresse à Monsieur le Président Trump, Messieurs les membres du Congrès, et chers Nord-Américains, bâtissons une vraie flotte d'or, la voie plus sage, plus prompte, moins coûteuse, qui tire vraiment les leçons de l'histoire. Monsieur le Président Trump, votre vision d'une puissante flotte d'or est le genre de hardiesse patriotique que l'Amérique appelle de ses vœux. Après des décennies de marine rétrécie et de stratégie timorée, vous avez rallumé l'esprit de la grande flotte blanche de Teddy Roosevelt. Vous avez rappelé au monde que la puissance maritime égale encore force nationale et respect. Le concept de grand combattant de surface high-tech projetant une puissance américaine écrasante est véritablement inspirant. Vous et votre administration pensez grand pour la marine et pour le pays, et tout Américain qui veut notre armée sans égale au monde doit applaudir cette ambition et cet effort. Voici les rendus officiels que vous avez dévoilés et ils paraissent imposants. news.usni.org, news.usni.org, reddit.com. Mais les bonnes intentions et les images flatteuses ne suffisent point. Avant de verser des dizaines ou centaines de milliards dans un tout nouveau design Trump-class BBG X, nous devons aux contribuables, à nos marins et aux générations futures de choisir la voie qui livre de vrais cuirassés en cette décennie, non des rêves en PowerPoint pour les années 2040. Cette voie est claire, moderniser pleinement et réactiver les 4 cuirassés existants de la classe Iowa. L'avertissement brutal de l'histoire, la malédiction des croiseurs de bataille qui engloutit les flottes. L'histoire crie pour que nous ne répétions point la même erreur fatale. En 1916, à la bataille du Jutland, les croiseurs de bataille britanniques HMS indéfatigables, Queen Mary and Invincible rapides, puissamment armés, mais faiblement blindés, explosèrent en catastrophe d'artillerie après quelques coups seulement. Les Allemands perdirent leur propre SMS Lutzow par la même vulnérabilité. Ces fiers vaisseaux gisent au fond de la mer du Nord parce que leurs concepteurs sacrifièrent la protection à la vitesse et à la puissance de feu. La malédiction des croiseurs de bataille les emporta tous. Avance rapide à la Seconde Guerre mondiale dans le Pacifique. Les croiseurs de bataille japonais de la classe Kong, plus tard reclassés cuirassés rapides, connurent le même sort. Tous 4 reposent désormais au fond des mers coulées par l'aviation, les sous-marins et les armes de précision qu'ils n'étaient point blindés pour supporter. Nous vîmes la même folie de nos jours avec les destroyers de la classe Zumwalt. Prévu pour 32 unités, le programme gonfla à 24,5 milliards de dollars au total. 3 seulement furent construits. Les canons révolutionnaires furent annulés car les munitions coûtaient 800 000 $ le coup. Ces navires sont maintenant maladroitement reconvertis en barges à missiles hypersoniques. Milliards gaspillés, capacité bien en deçà des promesses, defensenews.com. Ce sont des avertissements directs sur ce qui advient quand on bâtit de grands vaisseaux à haute valeur qui concentrent la puissance de feu mais lésine sur le blindage et la survivabilité. La classe Trump risque de répéter chacune de ces tragédies. Les vaisseaux proposés sont en vérité des croiseurs de bataille modernes déguisés, plateformes à missiles à peau fine de 30 000, 40 000 tonnes, sans ceinture de blindage lourd mentionné dans aucun document officiel. Les estimations du Congressional Budget Office fixent déjà le navire de tête à jusqu'à 22 milliards, plus qu'un porte-avions nucléaire, et les suivants à 13 milliards chacun. La première tôle ne sera coupée qu'au début des années 2030. Livraison effective? Peut-être 2040 au plus tôt. Faiblesse clé, grave problème de survivabilité et la classique malédiction des croiseurs de bataille. Grande taille et puissance de feu concentrée en font une cible flottante idéale pour missiles hypersoniques anti-navires, torpilles avancés, drones ou sous-marins. 1 ou 2 coups pourraient le mettre hors de combat ou le couler. Technologies immatures et à haut risque, canon à rail, programme déjà en difficulté, laser de haute puissance, hypersonique, SLCMN nucléaire, toutes non prouvées à grande échelle. Risque d'intégration rappelant le désastre Zumwalt. Coûts astronomiques et tensions industrielles détournent les ressources des frégates, destroyers et vaisseaux sans pilote, tandis que les chantiers sont déjà surchargés. Nombre d'experts prédisent l'annulation avant même le lancement de la première coque. Inadéquation doctrinale concentre la puissance massive en quelques cibles flottantes au lieu de la répartir sur une flotte distribuée. Seulement 2 canons de 5 pouces et des missiles chers et limités pour un tir soutenu. L'alternative Iowa. Coques éprouvées plus modernisation égale vrai cuirassé, plus tôt et moins cher. Les 4 cuirassés Iowa existent déjà. Leurs coques sont légendaires pour une raison au blédage épais de 12-13 pouces, vitesse de 33 nœuds, volume interne énorme que la marine employa dans les réactivations Reagan des années 1980 pour ajouter Tomahawks and électronique nouvelle à une fraction du coût d'une construction neuve. Tout système avancé que veut la classe Trump peut être adapté au Iowa plus aisément, plus économiquement et bien plus vite. Radar de pointe, AN et SPY-6 ou Aegis complet, corrigeant la seule vraie faiblesse actuelle des Iowa. Des centaines de cellules VLS MK-41 remplies de Tomahawk, SM, Sea and Conventional Prompt Strike hypersonique. Laser de haute puissance et, si la technologie mûrit, canon à rail. Même une refonte complète en propulsion nucléaire pour portée illimitée et vitesse soutenue infiniment moins chère et plus rapide sur une coque Iowa éprouvée que de concevoir, tester et bâtir de nouvelles installations nucléaires dans un vaisseau neuf de plus de 800 pieds de bout en bout. Et l'on garde les 9 canons de 16 pouces de 50 calibres, l'artillerie navale la plus dévastatrice jamais montée. Ces canons délivrent un bombardement côtier soutenu et de haut volume que nul soute à missile ne peut égaler pour un vrai appui amphibie. Une seule salve Iowa emporte plus de puissance explosive que des dizaines de missiles modernes idéales pour têtes de plage et fortifications. Elles offrent aussi la silhouette inconfondable de la puissance cuirassée américaine qui inspire l'effroi et projette un prestige national brut dans le monde entier, exactement l'effet grande flotte blanche désiré. Voyez ce que ressemble la vraie puissance de feu cuirassé en action. nationalsecurityjournal.org, reddit.com. Réactiver et moderniser les Iowa permettrait de mettre en mer de vrais cuirassés blindés des années et voire des décennies, plutôt que le calendrier Trump-class, coûter une fraction des 22 milliards par coque, même avec surhaussement complet des systèmes de combat et propulsion nucléaire. Préserver les emplois des chantiers américains en utilisant l'infrastructure existante au lieu d'attendre des designs risqués. Donner à la marine un appui-feu immédiat écrasant et des plateformes de prestige qui collent au combat d'aujourd'hui. Monsieur le Président Trump, messieurs les membres du Congrès, et chers Nord-Américains, nous voulons tous la même chose. La marine la plus forte du monde, bâtie avec le muscle américain, le bon sens américain et le respect des leçons durement apprises de l'histoire. Le concept Trump-class partit du bon esprit et du bon patriotisme. Finissons-le de la bonne façon. Réactiver et moderniser les Iowa. Donnez-leur les derniers radars, missiles, lasers et propulsions que notre technologie permet. Gardez les gros canons. Gardez le blindage. Gardez le prestige. Voilà comment délivrer vraiment la flotte d'or que l'Amérique mérite, non sur une planche à dessin en 2040, mais voguant fièrement sous les étoiles et bandes dès maintenant, prête à dissuader les ennemis, appuyer nos marines sur la plage et rendre l'Amérique respectée à nouveau.